Good day, everyone. It's another episode of AMAQ Ask Me a Question. It's another beautiful Friday. We are going to be answering two questions today. One is from a lady referred to as Amanda. She said, "Good evening, Dorcas. I migrated to the USA in 2021 and I've been trying to get a job in tech since 2022. I have taken several classes and even gotten the Google certification, but still unable to get a job. What am I doing wrong?" Amanda. Wow. Amanda, I've sent you an email, a personalized email. One, because there were some questions I still wanted to ask and find out. I know I keep asking for what I call deep insights when I ask questions, but as one of the things I have learned, one of my strategies is to eat the bullseye every time. So I don't like to assume. I want to get the specifics because it allows us to get straight to the point and eat the bullseye every time we throw the dart. But based off of this question, so that every other person can gain from it, I'm going to answer the question to the best of my knowledge. I'm going to answer the question, let me say, to the best of my knowledge right now with the little information that I have. Amanda, I'm assuming that if you are already looking for a job in 2022, that means you are already documented. That's one. Then the second question I want to find out is, at what stage does it feel like failure catches up? I know you probably have been doing like a job search. What have you been doing? What strategies have you been using? What classes did you take? What Google certification did you take? What Google certification have you taken, like I said? And which strategies have you been using? But I think I'm going to emphasize on three parts because there are some questions I still need answered for me to be able to answer you objectively. But I'm still going to answer the question anyway. The first stage, at what phase do you feel like there is a problem? The first thing I want you to look at is when you send your resume to the recruiters, when you send your resumes out, on which portals have you been sending the resumes? Which of the job portals have you been using? When you send the resumes out, do you actually get a call back from the recruiters? If that is where you are failing, number one, if you're not getting the call back, then something is obviously right or wrong with either your resume. It may not be ATS friendly, applicant tracking system friendly. So you need to look at that. Number two, it may not be meeting up with the job description of the job that was set that you have been applying for. So you need to take a very good look at your resume. It may be a resume problem. That is, if you are not getting callbacks from the recruiters. So it is actually a resume problem. Number three, is your resume even looking attractive enough for someone to even want to hold it? That's the first phase. Now, the second phase is if you are actually getting callbacks from the recruiters, what is happening at that point in time? I would suggest you go take another look at one of my videos. It's called Increase Your Value in the Job Market. I think you supercharge your career. It's on YouTube. It's going to give you a good understanding of some things that you need to put in place for you to be successful in your career, in the tech space especially. Now, if you are speaking to a recruiter, there is a level or the expectation that a recruiter has when speaking with you for the first time. Based off of what is on your resume, when they speak with you, are you meeting up with that standard? Are you at that level of learning when they speak with you? You need to think about that. Number three, the second thing you also need to think about is the money that you keep asking for when you speak to a recruiter for the first time. Does it actually meet up with the perception that the recruiter has and the resume that you have submitted? Does it actually meet up with the budget that the company has set? That may not actually be an hindrance, because a lot of times some of them will increase their budget or just go out of it to be able to get the person that they want or they need. All right. But like I said, are you meeting up to the standard that the recruiters have perceived when they look at your resume? Then number 3, which may actually be the problem. Are you at the level of mastery when you speak to the hiring manager? That's the 3rd phase. You've actually been able to skip the 1st phase, which is submitting your resume, the 2nd phase, which is speaking with the recruiter, taking the recruiter's call, and the 3rd phase, which is actually going for the interview. Are you at the level of mastery? Are you the kind of person that is going to be able to collaborate effectively with members of their team? Are you the kind of person they see that fits into the company's culture? Then, do they see you as someone that does not need so much of supervision? So all these things are the things you need to look at. But sincere truth is, I do not want to assume. Then the next thing that actually I was thinking about is, did you do a skills assessment? Do you know what your skills are? Are you actually applying for the job that meets with your skills? I'll use the word with your skill set, with your current skill set. Are you applying for the jobs that actually meet up with your current skill set? That is another question. But like I said, I already sent you an email. Can you please reply that email? Look at some of the questions I have asked of you. Look at some of the things, the tools I sent to you. Just take that skill assessment test, then we can move from there. I can actually be able to advise you further from there. But the truth is, some of those factors I have pointed out may be the problem. I don't really have all the answers by heart right now, but those are some of the things I have sat down to think about that may be affecting you at this point. So Amanda, reply my message, reply my email. We can move from there. Then there's a second email. It says, now we're going to treat the second email. The second email, it says, good morning, Dockers. I started a healthcare management agency, and after listening to some of your videos, I realized we need help to stay cyber safe. The company is very young and cannot afford to hire a cybersecurity person. So what can we do in the meantime? Thank you, Mr. Adegoke. All right, Mr. Adegoke. I sent you an email as well. Number 1, those questions that I have asked in that email, I want you to answer back. Like I said, we need to hit the bullseye every time we throw the dart. Number 2, I sent you a checklist. That checklist, I want you to actually use some of it to see the things that you have done right now or the things you're about to do. That checklist will serve as a guide for you. But in the meantime, so that every other person can get some advantage from listening to this video, I'm going to answer the questions. The first thing I need you to know when you start an agency, I'm very happy that you are actually thinking of being cyber safe at a very young, let me use the word, a young phase, a young age. I don't know when the agency started, like I explained in the email. I don't know when it started, but I still believe that from what you said, it's young. So I'm going to assume it's going to be between 6 months and a year. In my language, they will say, what that means is that if the death in-house does not kill you, the one coming from outside cannot get into what is called a penetration point. What that means is that you need to be safe in-house first for you to be successful, to be able to ward off the danger that is coming from outside. So I'm going to From the checklist that I've sent to you, I want you to take a good look at the checklist and do some of those things. Make sure there are things that I believe you are able to do yourself. I sent a guide with it so that you can be able to do some of those things yourself. If you need more help, please let me know. I am able to guide you. The first thing I want you to know is that you need to get devices for everyone that is working in that organization. I'm going to assume that because you said it's an healthcare management agency, yes, you already used the word agency. You have access to some patient information. So I'm going to assume that because you have access to some patient information, yes, I'm going to assume that you have access to patient information. One of the things you need to understand is that you need to be HIPAA compliant. I'm not saying bring in an HIPAA auditor or somebody to do an assessment right now, but like I said, take a look at the checklist, take a look at the guide that I sent to you and use it to make sure that at least to a certain extent, your agency is working compliantly with HIPAA. Then number 2, give devices to everyone that is in your organization that has access to patient information, or what I will call PHI, patient health information. All right. Make sure you are the one that is supplying the computers that they are going to be using. If they are going to be using tablets or phones, make sure you are also the one that is supplying it. Now, why am I asking you to do that? Ensure that every computer that you have, you actually put what is called an encryption, a disk encryption tool on each one. That is apart from putting in an antivirus, or what we refer to as an anti-malware. Make sure all your systems have antivirus and anti-malware. Make sure that you put a disk encryption tool on them as well. Then another thing I'm going to advise is that your physical security is extremely important at this point. Like I said, you have to guard yourself in-house first before you can ward off the danger from outside. Make sure that physically things are secured. What that means is that everywhere that you have devices or tools that are going to be storing patient information, they are put inside either a kind of closet or closed up. You don't just leave them away carelessly. Even when you give your staff laptop and stuff like that, they sign for it. That's number 2. Number 3, if you don't, I'm not going to ask you to go bring what do you call it, a guard, like a security man, or because I don't know what the kind of building that you're using. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know if you're working remotely. I don't know if you're working on site. I'm not going to go ask you to go bring in dogs as well. But another thing I want you to do is put in what is called CCTV cameras, surveillance cameras, and then put in what is called man traps. Gates are very, very important. The doors have to be very, very secure. Then ensure that even when you store your closets and everything, it's going to be secured, very secure. Then the third thing I want you to do is pay attention to who is copying data in your organization. Considering the fact that you are small right now, you may not be able to have what I would call a data loss prevention tool in place at this point, but I still want you to put in some data loss prevention techniques in place. Make sure nobody uses a flash drive. If possible, ensure that all the computers and stuff that you are giving out does not have their USB or their HDMI interfaces working. All right. People should not be able to copy information using flash drives or what I would call storage-based USB devices. They can still be able to use printers, they can use scanners, but not things that they have to store information on. Okay. Even portable hard disk should be a no-no. Those are some of the things I need you to do. Then the one that I consider to be extremely important, irrespective of what stage you think you are in, I want you to contact a VCISO service. All right. Look for an organization that runs a VCISO service. They have extremely friendly prices. depending on the stage in which your organization is in. The reason I'm advising you to do that is because of the industry in which you have found yourself. The industry in which you have found yourself is healthcare, and it is one of the industries that is monitored and has to be compliant. So based off of that, you don't want to make mistakes even from the onset, okay? So, but if you are running with, or we are working with a VCSO at this time, it's going to be better for you because they can help you to put up policies. They can help you to put up some of these strategies I have talked about. They can help you connect with an MSP or an MSSP so that some of your security services are actually being run, and then they can help you connect to a cloud provider so that some of your services are run from the cloud and somebody else, or what we call risk transfer. You're actually transferring some of the responsibilities of your risk to another provider. So I will advise that you get in touch with a VCSO service. Those are my answers from today. I believe it's been a beautiful day. I hope I really answered your questions properly, but like I said, I already sent you emails. Please ensure that you reply those emails so that I can actually get the full answers to the questions that I have asked, and some of the tools that I have sent to you. Please ensure that you use them. They're going to help you to a large extent. Until I see you again on Friday, send in your questions to connect@dorcasakintadeCom. Have a beautiful, wonderful day. Don't forget to subscribe.